Next question. I'm just wrapping up the DHA SOPs, and I did have a question about reactivation or smart review setup. Are we using directory domain, name, account, and phone to do the reactivation emailing and SMS campaigns on behalf of the client? No, you should set up a whole separate domain for that. Or are we setting up the client on their own email workspace account in the LLG snapshot? Well, yeah. Okay. So to be clear, if it's when I set up clients, let me see if I can pause the screen and demonstrate this very quickly. Give me 1 minute. This will make a lot more sense if I can show you. All right. Here's an example. David Morgan, what's up, buddy? Good to see you, man. Haven't seen you here in a long time. Let me get over here. And I agree with you, David. Internal links, that's what I was just basically stating. The reciprocal links internally tend to perform really well. Externally, I don't think it's gonna. I mean, it's been years since I've even tested it because I knew that it killed PageRank, and it seemed to be worthless. But remember, we're not just optimizing for Google anymore now, guys. So reciprocal links may be beneficial for language models, right? I have no idea. You'd have to test with it. It's not something that I've got slated on my to-do list for testing, though, not anytime soon. So. But thanks, David, for your input. So here's an example, guys. This is Woodlawn Trees and Tree Care. They are one of my DHA, they're a client that I sold just one of my front end services to. All they have is reactivation and reviews. That's the only service that they're subscribed to right now. And so that is my domain, feedback@rating.page. That's my domain. So just so you guys know, you can set up a workspace account. And when you integrate, let me just show you, when you click it in high level, when you're adding a workspace account as your email provider, which you should be at all times, in my opinion. I did a shit ton of testing in high level with their, what used to be Mailgun, but now is Lead Connector email, which is just them reselling Mailgun. Like the inboxing and deliverability and everything for cold emails and things like that, or emails where there's not a lot of kind of history between in communication history between the two, whoever's communicating within that email chain or thread or whatever. It's not great. Uh, that's why I always recommend using like something like Instantly or whatever as kind of the cold emailing app. But once you have a conversational, like a transaction or something where it becomes more conversational, right? After the cold email and it becomes an actual conversation, it gets piped in. Like as soon as we get from our directory outreach process, as soon as we get a contact that replies from Instantly, it creates a contact record in high level, and then we take over the conversation in high level. But what I'm getting at is specifically for local business clients that you sell this to or sell whatever to. Whenever you go, I always recommend that you have a dedicated domain. If I show you Gmail right here, here's the email address that you would add, that you would be sending from. In this case, it's feedback@rating.page. And then the password is an app password that you create in Google. It's a simple process. Here's the instructions on how to do it. And that. I don't know what the hell happened there. That's weird. It's like, that's really weird. Refresh that. That's odd. Anyways, it's a very simple process. But once you create the app password within your Google account, then save that password in a spreadsheet or whatever. And you can use the exact same email and the exact same app password to add this email to every sub account. And so just to kind of be clear about that, here's Instantly. Let me show you. We have feedback@rating.page. That is my email address that I use for all LLG or clients that I put on high level. So whenever I sell a tree service contractor client, we use my email account, feedback@rating.page, because it's pre-warmed, right? It's got a good reputation. Health score is 100%. It's used on every single one of my sub accounts until the client becomes subscribes to a higher level. Once they hit a particular threshold, then I will go set up workspace account for them. Or if they already have a workspace account, I'll integrate their workspace account with the high level app. But I only do that once they've hit a certain retainer level, because I don't know how long they're going to stick. I'm not going to go through the process of setting up a new workspace account for a client that's only going to be with me for a month. And you have no idea. So I wait until they hit a particular retainer level. And then I will go in, and if they already have a workspace account, then I'll schedule a call with them, or we'll get on a Zoom meeting and we'll knock it out very quickly. I just need them to be able to provide permissions while I get it set up. Or I will, if they don't have a workspace account, then I will set one up for them. I don't even charge them separately for it. It's just part of the retainer. I'll go create a workspace account and then integrate it. Well, I'll put it into warming because I'm going to warm everything up and instantly, and then I will plug it into their high level account. But in the meantime, there's no need for waiting for a domain to warm up or anything. So I can sell. And by the way, just so you guys can see, this is what the list reactivation page looks like because that's what you were asking about, right? So here's the discount funnel. So we can set immediately, we can send out right after I deploy the sub account. Like the moment that I deploy the sub account, this page right here is already built because all of this is driven through custom values. So when I deploy a sub account, I take all the contact information that has been collected by the client when they submitted the intake form after purchase, after checkout, they go to an intake form. It gives me all the details that I need that then just get copied and pasted into the custom values that I have set up in the snapshot. So as soon as I hit, deploy or save on the custom values or whatever, this page, which is on another domain of mine, which is claim.page. You guys see, I was just showing you the email address was rating.page, right? So it's feedback at rating.page. So we have a rating.page, which I'll show you that in just a moment as well. And then we have a claim.page. Well, this is for the discount funnels. So I use the same two domains. As you notice, this is on a client sub account, but all clients are going to get their discount funnel set up on a subdomain with their branded subdomain, then claim.page. This way, everything is branded for them, but it's on a domain that I control and I own, right? The same thing goes with the excuse me, where was I? Back here with the email that we use for sending notifications for review requests or for database reactivation campaigns, et cetera. Everything is going to go through my domain until they reach a certain level, subscription level. And then I will go in and integrate their own workspace account or create one for them, if that's clear. And that way you can immediately, the moment that you get that sub account deployed, and configured properly, which again, if you set everything up, you can do almost everything through custom values, which makes it so much easier. Then we can start immediately. The only one thing that takes a little bit more time than anything else right now is the phone numbers, getting the phone number approved. For a while, I was doing 800 numbers or toll-free numbers because they were getting approved a lot faster. Now it's the other way around. It's actually the A2P verification is which has an expense, by the way. That costs $25 to do the verification process, but the toll-free number verification, I believe it's free. At least it used to be, but I know they just recently changed that, so I've got to go back through and go through that process again to see. But the A2P verification is done usually in about 3 days now, 3 business days. So again, getting it, that's the one thing that I will tell a client when we sell them on the service. Either the reactivation and reviews campaign is the service, which by the way, you can take a look at that here, reviews.treecarehq.com. That's the checkout page that I send to the client whenever they decide they're going to check out. And this is also in the email sequence. So again, I show the discount funnel. That's what I just showed you. Then the claim page, which that's the last thing I wanted to show you, was this here. The reviews, that's going to go back to the smart reviews here. And then you'll see that the claim.page domain, or excuse me, that the claim.page domain is used for the discount funnel. But the rating.page, that's for this here. This is the page that the clients go to that are on the lower tiers that don't have access to the app, I don't give my clients that are on the lower tiers access to the high level app. We use that internally for managing their campaign, and it's pretty much all automated anyway. They have to hit that higher level. So get back to the question was, do you add your own email address or their email address? Like I said, when they hit a certain level, we then add their email address. That's when they get access to the high level app too, by the way. Any of the lower price services, we keep everything in-house to where they don't have access to the app until they hit a certain level. So this is every single one of my clients automatically have this page here where they can go at the end of every job, or they can have somebody on their team do it, whatever, or once a week, whatever. They can just go directly to this page and submit their clients or their customers' information. So at the end of every day, I tell my tree contractors either do it once at the end of every day, just go in at the end of each day, pull up this page, bookmark this page, go to this page and enter in the job, the contact information, just name, phone, and or email. It has to be one or the other of these two. I always recommend both. But then you just submit each of the names for the jobs that you completed that day, or do it all at once a week, right? Like every Friday afternoon or whatever, go in and enter all your customers that you completed jobs for that week, because this automatically adds them into that system, the review request system, which then sends out from feedback@rating.page the uh, email requests and everything else. Like I said, the phone number is the only thing that can kind of hang things up with this type of a setup. But what I always tell the clients is that we'll have this campaign up and running within the next 7 days. And so what happens, and I've never had anybody really give me a hard time about that. So I just tell them, like, it's going to take a few days to get everything set up and configured. We should have this up and running within the next 7 days. And usually before 7 days, because the A2P registration stuff, like I said, is usually back in about 3 days, then we like to under promise and over deliver. So if we say it's going to take roughly 7 days for us to get it set up, and within 5 days we contact them and say, hey, we're ready to go, then they're happy, they're pleasantly surprised. So that's what I always do. And then, by the way, if you had to try to get some reviews in for a client immediately, because here's the thing, there's a little bit of a delay between when they check out. So when they've made a purchase, they parted with their money, and the service starting, because of the configuration and the registration process and everything else. So if it's one of the clients that aren't so understanding, or that are starting to get a little bit antsy, like they're second guessing or having buyer's remorse because they purchased something and they're not seeing a tangible deliverable immediately, then there is another method. I'm not going to reveal it here, but there is a method that I talk about in the mastermind and in the SOPs, where we can get on the phone with them and generate minimum of 10 reviews within the next 7 days. We could do that immediately. And so there is a way to get some reviews coming in while you're waiting on a phone number to be approved in the sub account, if that is if that's a problem. But again, I've not had a problem with that. When I just tell the client right out of the gate, look, when you check out, we need about 7 days to get your campaign set up. And before we're going to actually start the outreach for the database, the list reactivation, or what I call it a comeback campaign when I'm talking to tree care contractors. Shaking the bushes is the name of the product, or the service, but it's a comeback campaign, right? So that's what it's showing right here. And I say it's going to take about 7 days. And then, like I said, usually within 5 days, I contact them and say, we're ready to go. Is it cool to start? And then, yeah, let's go. And then we're off to the races. All right. So hopefully that's clear.